Hello, teacher. Today I am going to talking about the five lesson, the last one. So I would like to start with the objectives that I am going to use in this lesson plan. Through this lesson plan, students will be able to tell the time in English. Another objective, locate the time on the clock. Students will be able to locate the time on the clock. The objective number 3, students will be able to differentiate hours and minutes in English. So it's so important in this lesson plan. I would like to talking about the methodology and strategies that I am going to use in this lesson plan. So, I would like to start with the methods I am going to use in this lesson plan. The method number 1 is total physical response, and the second is communicative language teaching. So now I am going to talking about the strategies that I am going to use in this important lesson plan. The strategies is our class work or can be solo work. Continue with this lesson plan. Another important step is the anticipatory set. In the application of this process, I am going to show the students a clock so that they have an idea of what the class is going to do. Continue with the steps of this lesson plan. We have main teaching input. It's very important, this main teaching input. So at this point, I am going to explain the students very interesting topics such as the time in English. For this, I am going to show them a clock where the hours, minutes, and second appear. Then I am going to ask the students to show any time in English. For example, it can be 6:30, can be 5:45, 12 o'clock. So, to carry out this activity, I am going to give them a time of two minutes for each student. I consider this time is enough to do or develop this activity. So everybody can participate in the activity. So I am going to continue with another important step of this lesson plan. So I would like to talking about the modeling. It's very important modeling. Continue with the planning. So in this step, I am going to write some hours on the board for the students to place on the clock. So it's very important. The another step of this lesson plan is the guided practice. As I am going the class, I am monitoring the activities the students are doing in the order for the activity to be carried out uh, away successfully. So it's very important. Another important step in this lesson plan, without a doubt, is independent practice. Then I am going to ask the students to imagine an hour and try to locate it of the clock. So each student they have to indicate the time on the clock. Can be the for example 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7:30. So each student will have to participate in this important activity. Continue with the activity. In this lesson plan we have the assignment. After I will evaluate the participation uh, of the class. All the class I will be evaluate. So the students who participate the most will have they will have an excellent grade in your participation. Continue with this lesson plan. I would like to talking about the closing, review, and follow up. In this point, I am going to reinforce the topic, the making others examples of the hours and time in English. This in order to reinforce the knowledge of the each student so they can participate in this activity. This was my fifth class in my last lesson plan that I am going to indicate you the way I am going to develop the class. So I will be so excited to give this class, which I am sure I will be. The class will be so interesting because the topic that I have chosen is the Thai English. So that I use dynamic teaching material to do the subject is understandable for the students of third year of high school. Now I am going to talk about the positive and negative aspects of the class plan. I think one of the positive aspects in this lesson plan was the use of the appropriate methods and strategies such as the physical response, communicative language teaching, because it allows the students to quickly search for particular information. It is very great where students need to find a phone number in a directory, the day of a history or event or the time, their lives and locations, time easily is in English. Is what the topic is about. Now I am going to talk about the positive and negative aspect of using of teaching material to teach students about time and English. For this I was very prepared, so I choose the appropriate teaching materials and research to make the topic more interesting. This time I showed the students a clock and I explain how to locate the hours on the clock. For This I use several examples of the hours so each student can participate. This was my last lesson plan. I am so excited that I can participate. I can because one day I will have the opportunity to be a main teacher English. So I think the English is a language so interesting. So we have to teach with love, with passion, with the interesting themes, so the students can be motivated all the class. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening me. Thank you for everything, teacher. So this class was very interesting for me. I am very grateful with your help, with your support. Thank you very, very much. Have a great year. However, the situation we are that we are happening right now. So God know where the things are happening. Thank you very much.